I've got 3 more deals for you, part 2 of my deadline preview. Let's get right into it. The first involves finally moving Jonathan Kuminga from the Warriors. This idea that they're going to hang on to him and pick up the team option, just end this now, please. He doesn't belong on the team. The team doesn't want him there. Let's do Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors a favor and give them a deal here that could finalize this divorce. So here's the trade. Kuminga, a 2027 first and a 2029 swap to New Orleans for Herb Jones and Kevon Looney. They should take a bit of a big swing here. I know they've been hesitant to part with future picks, as they should be. But in this case, this is just next year's pick plus a swap. At least you're swapping with a team like New Orleans, who knows how good they're going to be. It's a bit of a more conservative swap if you're going to give one away. I like it for them. Herb Jones is exactly what they need. A big 3-and-D wing. That's what they're missing. You go Steph, Herb Jones, Butler, Draymond, Quentin Post. It's a much more balanced lineup than what the Warriors have available to them right now. And then I like them also acquiring Kevon Looney, a guy that the Warriors know and trust and can add some center minutes, which is all they need from the center position. They don't need to get Daniel Gafford or somebody like that. They don't need a new starting center. They just need optionality at the center position. And Looney's a guy they trust to step in there to fill in whatever minutes they're not getting out of Horford and Post. And I think they like Post as a starter. So I like this deal. I think it's the best the Pelicans are going to get for Herb Jones. I think they're going to have a hard time finding 2 first-round picks. But to get a swap with the Warriors when Steph Curry is going to be gone and God knows what they're going to look like, this is a really sound deal for New Orleans. And this allows the Warriors to take a big swing without going overboard and jeopardizing their rebuild. The perfect trade for both sides. The next trade, my favorite one, Minnesota acquiring Coby White. Minnesota needs to acquire an upgrade at point guard. DiVincenzo's fine, but you like him as a 6th man instead of a starter. Coby White is the perfect fit for them because they need to acquire a player making somewhere in the money that he's making, which is $12 million. All of these ideas of Kyrie Irving, James Harden, all these big money players, I don't want to give up Julius Randle or Naz Reid or Jaden McDaniels, anybody like that. I want to maintain my 7-man rotation and replace everybody beyond that with a guy who can be my starting point guard. That's my goal if I'm Minnesota. And ideally, I don't want to give away one of my very few remaining draft assets that I can involve in a trade. So here's the deal. I like Coby White and Ayo Dosunmu to Minnesota for Mike Conley, Rob Dillingham, and Terrence Shannon Jr. No picks involved. If anything, maybe a swap in 2028. But I think that that's relatively even value. Between Coby White and Ayo Dosunmu, I think those are 2 players that Chicago would rather not extend. And maybe there's some reporting to the contrary, but that is my belief that they would rather not extend money to those guys. I think they would rather reset the clock on this and acquire young players in Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr. And I think they like that swap. You get Mike Conley as well. As far as Minnesota is concerned, Coby White, a perfect fit with your starting lineup. You can now go Coby White, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Randall, and Rudy Gobert. With Dante DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, and Ayo Dosunmu off the bench, you still have Jalen Clark, you still have Johan Behringer. This is a really nice situation for Minnesota, and then they can extend Coby White. This $12 million Coby White salary is the perfect target for them. They could go after a guy like Quentin Grimes. Colin Sexton is out there making a bit more money. Coby White is the best fit, both from a timeline perspective and an upside perspective. Love the deal for them, and I like it for Chicago. I think it's the best deal they're going to be offered because it's giving them what they're most interested in, which is young players on cost-controlled contracts. Last deal I want to talk about, let's get Ja Morant out of Memphis, and I think Houston is the best place for him. Let's first eliminate some of the other contenders. Sacramento said no to Trae Young. I don't know why people think they would say yes to Ja Morant. If you're using the logic for why they wouldn't want Trae Young, I think that applies to Ja Morant as well. Miami's been talked about. Is Tyler Hero really worse than Ja Morant? I don't think they're giving up assets thinking that that's the case. I think they're looking for a forward or center if they make a move. People have mentioned Toronto. They have a good thing going there. I don't think they mess that up. I think they'd rather target LaMelo Ball if he ever becomes available. And so I think Houston is one of the only teams that has a starting spot open for him and also has the assets and the willingness to acquire him. There's been reports that they're not interested. I don't think that's true. I think that they would make a move if the price is right. What's the price? Ja Morant for Fred VanVleet, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Jeff Green. No picks, nothing else. Very similar to the Trae Young trade, but with better players. Fred VanVleet has a player option for next season. I don't think Memphis minds taking that on. In fact, I think that they would welcome the veteran presence of Fred VanVleet. Same goes for Dorian Finney-Smith. That's the kind of player Memphis loves to give minutes to. a very capable 3-and-D wing. Jeff Green is there as filler. The important part here is Houston's side, because they are uniquely suited to acquire Ja Morant and the potential headache that other teams are scared off by. They have strong coaching in Ime Udoka. They have Şengün and Durant that are playing well. Ja Morant joining this team is not going to think, this is my team, I'm the star. And I think that's part of the problem in Memphis, is they're wanting to make him a smaller part of their team, and he's not liking that. That's not the case in Houston. And similar to the logic in acquiring Durant, this is just too good of a price for them to pass up on. Rotation players for a 27-year-old, potentially long-term starter at the point guard position. If he doesn't work out, you move on from him and you're no worse for the wear. I think that this is a deal that's worth taking advantage of. This is an opportunistic deal that helps them make a title run this year, but also he aligns with the timeline of their relatively young team outside of Durant and helps them compete going forward as well. It is the perfect destination for Ja Morant, and it's absolutely where he should be sent.